Hey guys, and welcome to the Vocal Synths install video for MainStage and Logic. So first of all, I just want to say a big thanks for your support. Obviously, by purchasing this product, you allow me to continue to make products like this and make them available for you. So thanks heaps. So once you've downloaded everything from Multipacks, it should look something like this. You'll get an install manual. It may be labeled a little bit differently. Then you'll have Logic templates and MainStage templates. You'll notice that this product is split up into multiple MainStage and Logic templates. That's because there's 640 individual patches and individual channel strips in this library, so it's pretty big, and Logic and MainStage don't support that many channel strips or patches in a single template. So I was forced to break them up into smaller templates, but this way you can kind of get a quick overview of all the patches just by opening each one and trying them out. Then you've got the individual patches, which you can import to any template, MainStage or Logic, and just use the ones that you want to use. They're split up into different categories. We've got vocal splice leads, male and female, and then we've got vocal or vowel synths, I should say, female and male, and those ones obviously include the vowel pads as well as the vowel lead stuff. So you're aware, I haven't exported every individual patch separately. I've exported them as sets of patches because I thought it was going to be easier than having to scroll through 640 separate patches to find what you want. Instead, I exported them as sets. So if you pull this into MainStage, what you're going to get is all 15 female vocal R patches. Just makes more common sense to do it that way. So that's how they're all exported as individual patches. Okay, so then you'll have a separate sampler instruments folder which contains all the .exs files for the sample player, and then on top of that you'll have all the samples, and that's about 10 gigs of samples. But the way that Multipacks structures their downloads is they split up the samples into gigabyte zipped files. So it means if you have an internet error or computer error in the middle of downloading, you don't have to start from scratch and download one massive 10 gigabyte file. So once you've downloaded all the separate samples folders, take them out of those individual sample folders and put them into one folder. So it should look something like this. Once you've done that, you need to drag the sampler instruments and the samples into a specific location. And that location is Macintosh hard drive, library, application support, Logic, sampler instruments. I've already set up some folders, but you can set them up by just going right mouse click, new folder. And I'm just going to drag all the samples into the samples folder and all the sampler instruments into the vocal synth. It doesn't really matter what you label them or how you do it, as long as they're in that location. You could even just select the contents of what's in there and drag it into the samples folder, and the contents of what's in sample instruments and put in there. It doesn't really matter how you do it. There is a second location that you can put them in. It's Macintosh hard drive uses your username, whatever that is. Mine's Peter James, but yours will be different, obviously. Music and audio music apps. So those are the two locations. Just pick one though. It makes it a lot easier and put all your samples and sampler instruments files into that location. Okay, so once you've done that, the next thing to do is to copy the patches into another location. That location is Macintosh hard drive uses your username, music, patches. Again, it doesn't really matter how you do this or what the structure of the folders is. Maybe just label it Vocal Synths patches, so if you've got other libraries in there, you'll be able to tell the difference between them. And then when you open up MainStage and Logic, it'll look exactly like that. So let's do that actually. Let's go to MainStage and find out where they're gonna turn up in MainStage. So you can open up whatever template you want. I've just opened up a default MainStage template. Go to the bottom of the page, go to patch library, user patches, and they will be in there, Vocal Synths patches, and then you've got MainStage and Logic all in the same place. I'll show you where that is for Logic as well. That's, if this is hidden, just hit this little button at the top left hand corner. Scroll across, sometimes it hides that, so I'm just scrolling across with the mouse. Go to user patches, MainStage patches, and the Logic ones will obviously be in here as well. Vocal Synths patches, just go to Logic and import whatever ones you want. So just be aware that the only way you can export Logic sets of patches is to do something called a summed stack. So I'll just show you. I haven't installed the sample, so you'll get errors. This is what happens if you don't install the samples in the correct location. So this is the summed stack, and these are all the individual patches. But just be aware, if you play your keyboard or play MIDI on the very top one, it's going to play every single patch at the same time. So just be aware of that. Just play them individually, or if there's one that you want from that group, just drag it out of that sum stack. Then you can delete that stack if you want, and you've got the individual patch. It was a much easier, quicker way of doing it than trying to sort through 640 individual patches just to find the patch you want. So that's why I've exported them that way. Another thing I'll quickly mention is just make sure you have Logic and MainStage closed when you're dragging all those files across the patches, the samples, and the sampler EXS files as well. The only reason being is the EXS24 player won't refresh if you have it open while you're doing all that. You can manually open up the EXS24 player and hit refresh menu inside that, but it's obviously easier just to have them closed and then open them up after those files are in the correct location. Okay, so if you do have any additional questions or you're a little bit confused by this video, just email us at support@multitracks.com and we'll be more than happy to help. Cool, thanks.